everyone. How are you doing? Welcome to Future Trend today. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm going to start this video off just to quickly, I don't even know how to start it, but to be honest, it's not the best day, being that most of us had to, wake up to the bad news about the blasts in Beirut. From my perspective, I'm just a little puzzled as to what the root or the cause was, but I mean that's pretty much what all my timelines had this morning, and yeah, just extremely terrible news. Like apparently there was some talk of how the fire started at a fireworks warehouse first, and that second blast was, I don't know, could be anybody's guess. It didn't look good though, so that's all I have to say. So my thoughts and prayers go out to any of you guys that were affected, any of the family members and friends that may have been affected by this, and I just hope that the truth comes out eventually, and some closure can be realized, because that is not great news at all. So yeah, I just wanted to quickly, respectfully bring that up as a topic quickly, and then just move forward with today's video. Honestly, being that it's the second video, I'm trying to figure out how the best sequence of events can unfold over the course of my video releases, but I'm just gonna take it from here. I wanted to touch on this particular topic when it happened, but life happens and you kind of like get busy and lose track of time, and other items require your attention. So I wasn't able to. I was actually thinking of making a post and at least launching this channel like literally 2 weeks ago, and that was around the week that Judy Shelton got voted in by the Banking Senate. I think it was the CME group or whatever, but I may be wrong. You guys can feel free to correct me on that one, but yeah, I saw that was essentially the 21st of July was the day. Like everyone in the crypto space, I'm just gonna whip over here. Everyone in the crypto space was essentially looking forward to the 21st of July because of Judy Shelton and the whole, rhetoric of the gold standard and Bretton Woods, and how she was essentially looking for a consensus in the monetary system, and how the famous video that's been circulating about how gold is a unit of account and it kind of keeps people accountable as well. So a lot may beg to differ that would actually follow through. I have my own theory, but then again, it's completely my opinion, and I will share that in a later video. But that was the week, and the 21st didn't really ring too much bells when it comes to price action. It didn't really do too much. It bounced a little bit, like pretty much business as usual, status quo, ups and downs. But when the 22nd hit, I think that kind of started that snowball effect. So momentum from Judy Shelton's meeting or announcement on being voted in or approved, and she had 13 to 12 in approval in favor of her seat. That led into the next day, which was the 22nd, and the OCC comptroller of the currency releasing their news release on how they essentially approved federal chartered banks and thrifts to provide custody services for crypto assets. So cryptocurrencies in general has been a space that a lot of people would render. I mean, if you go to your friend or you're talking to your family member, they probably think you're crazy if you talk about cryptocurrencies, or they'll bring up topics about how isn't that for criminals, or individuals that want to evade taxes, or transact in the black market. And that may very well be its reputation that the whole space has gotten, but that's because they essentially try to pair cryptocurrencies with Bitcoin. Bitcoin, in my opinion, is the one that has the baddest rap when it comes to reputation in general, because all the experimentation, all the bad boy actors, all the bad actors would essentially use that to transact completely unaware that all their transactions were trackable, but that's for another conversation as well. But long story short, we've been hearing a lot of FUD, a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt with regards to the space in general. Individuals not knowing whether it would actually go anywhere. But research has shown, like all the YouTubers that I've been following over the past few years, like a couple years now, and the research that I've conducted on my own, they point in the direction of digital adoption. And when it comes to the monetary system in itself currently, it's essentially running on fumes. And right now, I mean, you can argue who, but right now there are a few individuals that have the power to market it like everything's going well. Well, surprise, surprise, or wake up everyone. I don't think that's the case, and I think their fail-safe is digital assets. That's the reason why I've been paying attention to this, being highly interested in macroeconomic activity. I think that is the move, especially with our current event of CV19 on the loose. It kind of, points everybody in the direction of, maybe we should look at a solution of digitalization as a long-term trajectory or a long-term direction we can all go in a financial system. But at the same time too, if that's the case, how many more steps do we need to take to realize a full adoption of the space, right? So I don't know. Right now we're dealing with about a 300 something billion in the market right now. And it's relatively a handsome figure. Yeah, it looks, it's nice to hear, but it's nowhere near what it was like in late 2017, early 2018. And at the same time too, in order to actually cause a real to make a real difference, I mean, obviously a lot more than what was in the market then. Needs a lot more volume needs to go through the space or through the asset class in order to realize really interesting gains, or to at least give a clue that adoption is on the way. But there's a few documents that have been going around over the past few months and years regarding a timeline, and those were shared by Love for Crypto, shared by the Bearable Bull and their channels as well. So those are definitely, I'd recommend following those guys, because they go really in depth when it comes to the research, and they show documentation as well. But regardless, I just wanted to at least touch on this particular item and then give you my thoughts on what I think this means for us as retail investors. Long story short, I think it means nothing for us. I think it may not necessarily actually be a positive when it comes to long term. Yeah, banks are going to be able to hold your keys and all that, but I've understood the fact that if it isn't, if you don't have your keys, you don't own them. Like if you don't hold your keys, you don't own them. And if someone else is holding your money for you, just like technically a bank on their balance sheets essentially holds all the money that you put in it, and it's technically owned by the bank or on the balance sheet as a bank, on the bank side, as opposed to your side, because, well, you've trusted the bank to do that. And guess what? You also have to pay them service fees on a monthly basis for them to do so. And technically speaking, I think that's where this is also going to go. They've essentially created an opportunity for banks to hold these keys, to custody them, if that's the word that we're going with. Yeah, sure. For individuals that may be busy and not have the time to actually go through the proper risk mitigation steps that they need to protect their keys, this may be a good option, because you have the insurance vehicles that the insurance standards and policies that banks have when it comes to money in general. Maybe that might be helpful in some sort of way, but I'm just my red flags went up when I saw this and I looked into it deeper. Initially, it's great news long term because adoption is on the way. But from a fine print, let's pay attention to what the actual meaning of this is. It means that therefore, we're essentially just going back to banks owning your things for you. And it really depends. If accountability is a thing that is taken care of all across the board, blockchain may be able to, offer that level of confidence in the system. Blockchain technology in general is something that is peddled as some sort of risk aversion or risk mitigation technology, and that everything is transparent, nothing is immutable. Everything is immutable in that you can't necessarily undo something that has been done, but that therefore means that you can't leave room for human error. So I'm hoping that technology is actually matured well enough in time for, custodying crypto assets, so that, it's safe for that, for our funds as retail investors or retail holders or traders or whatever the case may be. So it's safe for us to actually participate in this space, because it's already such a risky space. Like, you have ads on YouTube. Mind you, if you saw any creepy ads on YouTube, please don't click on them. Don't fall for the scams. This is the space we're in. Like, it's extremely volatile. It's extremely risky. And if you're not taking care of your funds, if you're not taking care of your overall online activity, it may be a negative. It may pose a threat long term. So at the end of the day, just make sure you're proactive, people. Don't leave things for last minute, and keep this in mind. An ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. So I fully agree with that notion. And touching on the item that, national banks and state banks and thrifts have long provided safekeeping. Actually, the sentence I'm wanting to focus on right now is this one here. The OCC is specifically recognized the importance of digital assets and authority for banks to provide safekeeping for such assets since 1998. I'm pretty sure I didn't hear anything about that in 1999. I think I was old enough to have heard something about it, because I have older cousins that talk about this stuff on a regular basis in 2000, 2010. None of it. I never heard any of it until maybe around 2008, where the most recent market crash happened. That's possibly when something could have come out. But if you paid your way all the way back, 1998, that's interesting, to say the least, right? So then again, digital assets could therefore mean maybe I have to polish up on my definition of digital assets and then actually find out what they actually mean outside of cryptocurrencies, because, well, an asset in itself could be information, right? So from my perspective, maybe that's what they mean, because information in itself is an asset. So maybe a particular safe document needs to be classified or secured, or whatever the case may be, people's information. That makes sense. Maybe that's what they mean by digital assets. But to hit it at 1998, that was like, whoa, are you guys talking about currency related stuff? Or anyway, you guys let me know what you think about that in the comments. But yeah, I think it's pretty interesting, being that, Brian Brooks, the acting comptroller of the currency right now, was, the head legal at Coinbase at one point. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that he was the guy who was there before, and that literally 2.5 months from him joining the OCC, he passes this. That only draws attention to the fact that anything can change at any point in time, and they're serious about this stuff. They've been working since, if you're gonna be making the statement of, hey, we specifically recognize that this stuff has been in the works, or has been a thing since 1998. I'm assuming this stuff has been, this move, or these kinds of releases or plans have been in place for decades, and that only makes sense. At the end of the day, if you want something to be successful, you have to plan way in advance. Like, you have to plan. You got to put plans on plans. So that's pretty interesting to find out which direction they're wanting to go. But I'm just curious to understand what it is that they will use as a value proposition to actually implement this on a wider scale and a faster scale for adoption, if they want to meet the timelines that they have mentioned so far. There's some talk of 2023 being the magic year for full maturity in the space, or adoption. I have no idea, but for all I know, 2020 was on the map for kind of like an introduction to the standard of, setting standards or regulatory clarity for cryptocurrencies, and that seems to be happening. And the month of July definitely was the month for that. So I'm just curious to find out what you guys' thoughts are. What other factors do you think we need to pay attention to that actually pertain to this particular topic on custody, and how does that affect security from our ends as retail investors? Because you guys have probably also heard about the Ledger breach that happened about a week and a half ago, I think it was, when Ledger released an email saying that their databases had been had been compromised when it comes to a few new orders, I think it was. Does that therefore mean that they're trying to shift over to a new system and maybe legacy information or new information didn't transfer as well as the legacy information? I have no idea. Like, when you developers, if you guys are listening, or any of you guys are into that space, let us know in the comments what you think. But yeah, I'm curious, and absolutely I'm thankful that this is all happening now. Again, the 22nd was a big deal. Like, 22nd of July was a big deal. So that just essentially legitimizes the space in general, and that's a positive. That's a net positive for everybody when it comes to cryptocurrencies, and giving some sort of reputational muscle to the whole space. So I'm curious to find out where things go. But otherwise, I'd like to wrap it up. I think I'm actually going to do this on a daily, on every video moving forward. But if you look at the let's take a look at the prices currently. So last I checked, it was hovering around that. Let's refresh the page. Let's see. Ooh, okay. So yeah, well, Bitcoin is obviously holding fast, or holding hard to that 11,200 USD mark. It hasn't really dipped much below that today at all. And XRP just touching 30 cents, which is, it's in pinballing between 29 and 31 today too. So I'm curious. I'm assuming something to do with what happened today in Lebanon had something to do with the markets, and that's indirectly or directly affecting prices now. But price action like this, anytime it goes red, it's my tell to buy. That's just my end. And it could be any of these. Like, really just do your research on what it is that you find valuable. But at the end of the day, consult your own financial advisor, do your own research, feel confident with your own strategy and policy for investing, and you should be good. Like, when it comes to trading, I feel this stuff I'm not as well versed when it comes to trading, but anything that you put your mind to is essentially something you can succeed at. So just do your best to research and keep yourself apprised with what's going on in this space. But right now, this bad boy here is looking nice with a market cap at 13 billion, I think is what it is. And the current market, the total cryptocurrency market cap is at 348 billion in total. So, I mean, that's interesting to know. And we're only on Tuesday. So anyway, guys and gals, hope you enjoyed this video. As always, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and don't forget to ding that notification bell, and that will keep you up to date as to when I make posts on videos and everything. Don't forget to also follow me on Twitter at Future Trend Today, as I'm trying to also grow that channel. Sorry, not that channel, but that Twitter account up, and try and engage more with the community. So thank you so much for watching, and have a good day, people.